that Romney had anything to do with. I love this next, as I told you yesterday, and I think I did it yesterday, I love puncturing myths. I love blowing things up. As stupid conventional wisdom stuff that people believe and act on, like coffee will kill you, or that oat bran will make your bowel movements more regular, whatever that they try to say out there. There is a great story. This is in the Atlantic, and it's by a babe named Megan McArdle. And the reason I like this is because Megan McArdle, whether she is intended to or not, has much better than I ever have over the course of many years of doing this program expressed an opinion I have about all of that. All of these so-called stories that we get on our health. What are they all oriented about or towards? If you play them out so that we'll never die. Don't do that. No trans fat. Watch your salt. Whatever it is. The nanny state. Don't eat too much sugar. Or whatever it is they think, because it's all going to do what? It's going to lead to disease, heart attack, death, or what have you. As though that can be missed. As though that can be avoided. And here's just cuts right to the chase, simple as pie. Everyone, as they get older, will get sick and die. It's a newsflash to the people at the Atlantic. Now they tell us, we're going to die? You mean it doesn't matter what I do? That's right, you are going to die. It doesn't matter what you do. This is something that gets obscured in today's medical reporting. Everybody, as they get older, will get sick for some reason and die. What is the biggest risk factor for heart disease and cancer? It is not smoking. It is not tobacco. It's not cholesterol. It's not blood pressure. It's age. And to a large extent, the incidence of those diseases is random. Doing everything right lowers your risk of disease, but not to zero. And usually not to that small a fraction of the risk for the general population. There's no magic set of behavior that will prevent disease. There's no magic set of behavior that will prevent you from getting sick. There's no magic set of behavior that will expand your health measurably. No legislation either. That's exactly where there is no legislation that will make you healthy. I just said it. How else could I say it any more plainly than I just said it? There is no magic set of behavior that will prevent disease. Now, you might not think this is earth-shattering. To me, it's earth-shattering only because you know how I reject conventional wisdom. I'm not a follower. I reject it. Where the crowd goes, I don't go. When the crowd forms, I pull back. I'm not a conformist, a group thinker, or anything of the sort. And I really, for some reason, I have a pet peeve about people who get caught up in it. And all it takes is from some stupid group like Center for the Science and Public Interest to come out and say that Chinese food is an early killer. That's a crock. It is an absolute crock. All of these health warnings from the standpoint of, what's their purpose? Their purpose is to control us. And that's what I resent about all. That's the root of my problem with all of this. Don't eat trans fat, and the government deciding who can and who can't and where it's going to be served. That's a great incursion on our freedom, and that's what I reject. And so here it is, plain as day. The biggest risk factor for heart disease and cancer is age. There it is. And there's nothing you can do about that. There is not a single thing you can do about that. You can't wear a wrinkly ribbon. There is no ribbon for aging. There's not a thing you can do. It doesn't matter what you inject yourself with. It doesn't matter. You can do like the Pelosi route and go all Botox, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to get old. And the older you get, the greater the risk that you're going to die. The older you get, the greater the risk that you're going to get a disease. Now, these health scares are just I'll tell you what they are. They are nothing more than tiny little, almost unnoticeable losses of freedom. Incremental, all designed for what? Our own self-interest, our own life improvement. They care. They have the greatest of compassion for. They don't want us to get sick. They don't want us to die. They don't want us to get cancer. They don't want us to have high blood pressure. They don't want us to do any of that. And so don't do that and don't do this. I mean, all of these health scares, and that's exactly, I've often said, if you really care about death, ban the wheel. The number of people killed by the automobile every year dwarfs those who die by virtue of disease. Ban the wheel. And they're not going to ban tobacco. Of course, tobacco is a lifetime killer. It doesn't kill you instantly. That's another thing that's absurd about that. So the basic lesson here is life kills. If you are alive, you are at risk. I hate to break it to you. If you're alive, you are at risk. You are going to get sick. We had this stupid story yesterday that 27% of people who sit on the couch and watch TV and drive cars, have heart attacks. Do you realize how absurd that is? That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Do you realize everybody who has eaten carrots is or will be dead? That's about what that statistic means. What are the numbers on the people who've eaten carrots who've been involved in automobile accidents in the following 6 months? I guarantee you it's almost total, damn high. So we stop eating carrots and we're not going to get any auto accidents? I resent attempts at mind control. I resent the attempts at mass manipulation, and that's what the left does. And they use these health scares as just another tiny little way to get everybody dependent on the government. The government has safety warnings. The government will protect you. The government will care for you when you get sick. The government this, the government that. Look at the news about red wine. 60 Minutes does a story on the French are thin, and they have red wine, and the secret is they have cheese with it, that protein. I have read it's in the South Beach diet. Go ahead and drink the red wine, but have some cheese with it. That's what the French do. That cuts the insulin released in half, and insulin is a trigger in weight gain. So if you want to drink, have some cheese or protein nearby to cut the insulin release. Well, fine, and now, that doesn't matter a hill of beans now because the story came out yesterday. The researcher that came up with all this made it up. Just like the global warming crap, made it up. And these are all people with government grants or involved in government linkage some way. And they're all liberals. And they're all using control mechanisms here under the compassionate guise of having your best interests at heart. Here, I happen to have a companion story. This is outrageous, and this well, here, let me just tell you, energy drinks can trigger heart attacks. A prominent Sydney, Australia cardiologist. So one doctor in Sydney, Australia can make worldwide news. A prominent Sydney cardiologist has called for greater caution with the purchase of energy drinks, warning that they can trigger heart attacks and other life-threatening conditions in young people. Well, when I read that, I said, okay, buying them does that. What about drinking them? This idiot doctor or this idiot journalist said the purchase of energy drinks can trigger heart attacks. Just mean buying them. Do you understand that? You don't even have to drink them. You just go buy them, and your heart attack risk is increased. That's how silly and stupid this. Does anybody believe? One doctor in Australia. How does this even make worldwide news? But it did. Because we're all oriented to panic. We all want to be told how we're going to die. No, that's not right. We all want to be told how we can escape it. How much of what you deny yourself is based on the fact that you think you're increasing your lifespan? How much of what you deny yourself, enjoyment or otherwise, is because you've been convinced you will live longer? It's bogus.